Sorry, Inez, and
No.
we'll just go straight to, if you had missed everyone. Anuki, you ready if we let everyone in?
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah, okay, super. Inez, go ahead. Thank you. Hello, everyone joining us now from the waiting room. Thank you so much for joining. Just wait a couple more seconds while everyone comes in. Okay, and if you're joining, if you can switch to speaker view, then you'll be able to see our speaker for today who's joined us. And I think we'll go ahead from now. Okay, super. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this online session on the topic of the balancing act between career success and mental well-being. My name's Erica Walk. I'm an Alumni Relations Manager at Rotterdam School of Management, and today's session is the second in RSM's Alumni Career Day series, which has been designed to provide support to our alumni community with a full month of online and in-person discussions, masterclasses, career advice, and networking. So there are still tickets available to our upcoming sessions, and I'll share some information about those at the end of this webinar. Before we get started, I just need to let you know that this session will be recorded and will be shared alongside the other sessions in late June time. If you have any questions during the discussion today, then please put them in the chat box and we will pass them on to Anouk and try to get to all of them before the end of the session, or otherwise follow up with you afterwards. So to get started, today we're going to talk about how to maintain a healthy equilibrium between our professional responsibilities and our personal well-being. This is, of course, more than just a nice to have idea. It's essential for us to be able to thrive as individuals and also for organizations to be successful too. So this session will offer some practical strategies and insights to support you in building resilience and fulfillment in both your personal and professional life. Our speaker today is a fellow RSM alumnus. May I welcome Anouk Debat. Anouk brings a unique blend of academic experience and practical insights to her work. She previously served as a lecturer at Erasmus University and also a business analyst at the Tax Authority. Anouk is now a coach and advocate for well-being, where she empowers individuals to overcome challenges, cultivate self-awareness, and unleash their potential for growth and fulfillment. And we're thrilled to have her with us today. So Anouk, thank you so much. I will hand over to you now.
Well, thank you, Erica, for this nice introduction. I will introduce some slides as well. So I will share my screen right now with you guys. So yeah, there it comes. Here comes the screen. So welcome, everybody. Very nice to see you all here. I was very enthusiastic because I saw that 60 people applied for this workshop. And that makes it really relevant. It's a really relevant topic, how to balance your career success and your mental health. How do we balance work life? We are really struggling with this. And why do we struggle? How come? And how do we balance actually this topic? Well, that's something we're going to discuss today. Some rules before we start. We're with a lot of people in here, so if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box. I have some support today with me that will help me to collect all the questions. And if you have some questions, I will try to answer them in between. If I don't answer them in between, don't you worry. Then we will find some time, maybe in the end, maybe later on. But we will answer your questions anyway. And also I have some polls. They will also be shared in the session, in the workshop. And yeah, it would be nice to answer those polls also for your own awareness and also for the rest to see where everyone is at. So yeah, welcome again. What am I going to talk about to you today? We're going to talk about understanding balance. Why is it so important in today's world? Why is it such a relevant topic? That's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm not going to talk about only by a theory and everything that's in the paper. No, I will especially talk about my own experience, because I think it's really important to learn from human experience. It's a way of how we can understand the world and how we also can understand ourselves. So I try to explain my own experience, and I will also use experiences of clients I've worked with before. So that about the context. And I also will go into depth into stressors. What makes that we feel stressed? How come we feel so much stress nowadays, and how does it make us sick? I will explore that with you as well. And throughout the whole session, I will also include certain tools, techniques you can use for more balance in your work life. And at last, we will also have a look at having a healthy culture. What can you do to incorporate this in the work environment? So yeah, that's a bit about the session. We only have an hour, so our only constraint today is time. Well, isn't that hilarious for this session? So yeah, we started. I'm here to give you insights in balancing work life. I'm really enthusiastic about this topic. It's a topic that really is close to my heart. But I would also like to know, why are you in this session today? What do you hope to find? What is your intention? What do you want to learn? If you want to share that in the chat with me, that would be awesome. Let's see why you're all in here today. Can I see some reactions? Let's see if this works. I see new insights to get some tips and tricks on how to bring these two in balance. Very nice. New insights are great. I try to shake you up a bit today. That would be nice, right? To do something different. How to best relax after a stressful workday. Yes, really important. After getting so many stress during the day, how do you rewind from a stressful day? Feeling overwhelmed sometimes. Yes, feeling overwhelmed. I know that feeling. It's not a nice feeling. I would like to learn tools and insights on how to find, maintain, and especially know when I have to find my balance. Currently on burnout, I'd like to learn extra tools to incorporate for myself and my organization for when I reintegrate. Really important topics. Let's dive into that. Preparing for a nice professional lifestyle in the near future. This is also really nice. Really looking forward to also working on that. Yes. Okay, really nice you're all here, and nice to have intentions why you're joining, because it's really important why you do certain things, why you have certain intentions, because then you get also most out of a class or a workshop, etc. So let me tell you. Oh, first this question, I have a poll as well. At what stage are you currently in your career? Let's see that if we can share a poll. I will ask my assistants on that to have a poll, to answer the poll. Yes, there it comes perfectly. So what stage of your career are you in at the moment? Let's see. Just starting my first job, 15%. Mid-level professionals, a lot of mid-level professionals. Senior level professional, executive leadership, just starting. Yeah, so it's quite diverse. We're a quite diverse group. It's relevant for all stages of your life, especially when something happens, maybe in your personal life, maybe you get married, maybe you move, maybe you get a new job, maybe you encounter something else in your life. Then it's especially extra important again to find your balance again. Nice to know. Thank you for filling this out, guys. It's very nice to see. I will share the results. I think you can see it as well. And I will stop this sharing right now. And let's continue with the session. This is a very nice picture of me. This is me in one picture. Very hardworking. That were my qualities. So I identified myself as a hardworking, woman. So just like you, I'm an RSM alumni. I studied business administration, and that was nice because it was very diverse. I had to do some quantitative skills and also qualitative skills, and I really liked that. But I was also wondering what's more, what's next, what's else. So I was always on the urge from getting more meaning to life, and that is really important. If you know why you make certain choices, that says something about your values. For me, that was meaning of life already back then. And so I decided to do the Master Global Business and Stakeholder Management, which is focused on sustainability, not only on the profits, but also on people and planet. So the balance between those three pillars. And I did that, and it was a nice master's. And after that, I got the opportunity to stay on at the RSM as a lecturer. So I did that. And it was awesome because I really liked working with the students. But at the same time, I got in this culture where I was left alone. I felt left alone. So I was alone in an office, and I was, I was not feeling any backup. It was nice to do, and I was like, okay, I'm a hardworking, independent, strong woman, so I can do this. I can fix this. I don't need any backup. So I did that, and it went well. But at the same time, I ignored something that I needed, and that was actually having a backup, having a supportive community. I didn't got that from my organization, from the company, from the department. So I was figuring everything out by myself, and I also didn't know back then how to ask for help. So I got this workload, and it was my workload, and I had to deal with it. So I dealt with it. And at the same time, they also asked, okay, you can also coach 20 master students in writing their master thesis. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, why not? If it works like that way, I will do it that way. So I didn't say no. I didn't respect my boundaries. I just went along because it was normal. It was asked from me. And I identified as hardworking and independent. So then you don't ask for help. So that's what I did. I worked really hard, and I did a good job, and the students were happy. But at the same time, I wasn't happy at all. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work for me. I'm missing something, and I don't know how to change it. So then I just changed my job. So that I did. So I went to the tax authority, became a business analyst there, and also later on a project manager for IT implementations, because they found out, okay, IT implementations aren't working when we just turn the system on, because we forget that we have to involve the people as well. So we have to teach them how to use the system, how to manage the system, how, yeah, all the impact on the process, the people, the management, etc. So that's was something I was working on, and I really enjoyed that. I also had a colleague of mine, her name was Claudia. She was a little bit older, 20 years older. So I used to tease her with that. So we had a really nice vibe going on. And for the first time, I had this connection in work environment where I had someone as a support system in my work. And that was really nice. So I was not only learning in the job, but I was also learning from the environment, learning from the people, learning how to say no, how to handle stress, etc. So that was a really nice working experience for me. So then after a while, I was young, it was my second job, and I was like, well, I want something else. We're very eager when we're young. We want to learn fast and grow fast, but we want to do it only in the job. And we forget that we also have to work on ourselves, not only in the job, but also on our career and on ourselves. Entrepreneurs know this. They know, if I want to have all the responsibilities, if I want to carry everything, if I want to have like a heavy workload, also have to work on myself. I have to be stable myself. If I'm not stable myself, I cannot handle all the responsibilities because I will collapse. The foundation is not there. So yeah, I worked a little bit on my foundation then when I had that support system with my coworker Claudia. So that was really nice. But after 2 years, I thought, yeah, well, I want to grow. I learned everything. So goodbye, let's do something else. And I want to grow. And that's important. If you have the eager to grow, then go grow. Because it's something, yeah, we fundamentally need to grow as human beings. If we stay too long in our comfort zone, we will die a little inside, because yeah, we have no excitement in our lives. But if we go overboard, way out of our comfort zone, way too fast, way too far, we get a lot of stress. Also a zone we don't want to be in. We don't want to be in the stress zone constantly. So you have to find a balance between getting out of your comfort zone, but also getting the right resources for yourself to get out of the comfort zone, that it still feels okay and not overwhelming. So yeah, after 2 years, I told my boss I wanted to do something else, and my boss was becoming a director in the tax authority, and he said, well, you can come along with me. I need a board advisor. So I joined, and I became a board advisor. I thought that was very nice to do. It was really political. It was really with the decision makers. So important job, a lot of impact. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. Let's do that. And I did it, and it was amazing. No, I'm kidding. It was horrible. It was really, really horrible. And that was because I didn't have the foundation yet to do a job like that. And I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't have a support system as well. So that's a bit on me, a bit on the organization as well. It's always both, right? So yeah, I went in this stress mode, of what I know, and that's working hard, being independent, and working harder and harder and harder just to do a good job. I wanted to try to prove myself, showing what I can do, what I'm capable of. And at the same time, I got in this major stress funnel. That's what happens when you have a lot of stress for a long period of time. You get in this stress, you get this tunnel vision, and there's nothing else, only the work and only the problems, and you cannot see beyond. So you don't think there are opportunities anymore. You don't think there are possibilities anymore. So you get only this tunnel vision and only this stress. And at a certain moment of time, I was only working really hard and sleeping. So that was my balance. So sleeping and working, and then getting a lot of stress in the morning and a lot of stress on Sundays. You know, these Sundays blues you can have when you have to go to your work on Monday. Well, I had those. And my boss said at one more PowerPoint, he said, well, let's give you the Wednesday off. Then you have some extra day to recharge. But I was way too far ahead already, too much stress. So that one day that would not help me, because the workload didn't change. The environment didn't change. I didn't change. I only got extra time for rest. But yeah, that didn't compensate for what I was really needing. So yeah, then you can imagine that I ended up in burnout. So yeah, then your body says, well, you feel over 80, but you're only 26. So what the hell is going on? And I was also like, why me? I mean, I'm the hardworking person. I'm strong, independent, and hardworking. Why me? Burnout? How's that possible? Yeah, exactly, because of those reasons it is possible. So that's what happened. But that moment for me was a life changer, because then I made a decision for myself, and I said, okay, this no more. This is not sustainable. This is not healthy. Not for me, not for my environment. I'm not going to be a nicer, better person by doing this. This pattern. So let's change that. And then I had to do a lot of work, a lot of digging to find out, hey, where am I coming from? So yeah, that's a bit of my personal story to share. You can understand that I often felt really overwhelmed. And so I'm very curious about you. I want to share a poll with you about how often you feel overwhelmed by your responsibilities. And this poll is it's not a wrong or right answer. I mean, there are never wrong or right answers in these kind of questions. It's only for yourself to realize, hey, I'm quite always often, sometimes. If you're never overwhelmed, then you also can ask yourself some questions. yeah, never, sometimes overwhelmed, often. Yeah, so sometimes and often overwhelmed. Okay, thank you for sharing that. It's important. One person is never overwhelmed. So really cold, cold, cold nervous system. Maybe you need to get out of your comfort zone. Maybe that could be. And I will stop this sharing. Then we'll get to the next slide. Let's see. So yeah, when you feel overwhelmed, it's not nice, but how do you make sure you can have a healthy balance? I see one hand up. Can you maybe, the one that sent is put his hand up, can put their question in the chat box? That would be easy. It would be nice. Okay. And then I will continue with this next part of the workshop. It's about work-life balance, and this work-life balance is personal for everyone. So yeah, thank you, Erica. So it's personal. It's not about only here. It's not only in your head. It's not something rational you can decide whether you're in balance or not. It's something you feel. And often we are really thinking we're rational human beings because I think I am, and that's here. But we're not only this part of our body. We're also a larger. We have a larger body. We have feelings, and if you feel overwhelmed, it is a feeling, and you feel overwhelmed because your work and your non-work activities are not in harmony and not compatible with your current goals and priorities. So work-life balance is also about, do you know where you're going? Are you in the front seat of the car, driving the car, behind the steering wheel, or are you in the back seat of the car? A lot of people are in the back seat of the car, and that feels really overwhelmed. You're not in control anymore, and you don't know where you're going because you're in the back seat. If you know where you're going, if you know your goals, and you know your priorities, you know your values in life, it's really more easy to make decisions and to make choices and to say no to things that are not aligned with the things you want. So that can make you feel more balanced. And why is that so important nowadays? It is so important because we're in this fast changing world. We're constantly adapting. We're constantly getting information. We're getting information from our phone, from our email, getting emails, we're getting text, we're getting WhatsApp, we're getting social media, we're getting, I don't know, it's fast changing. The world is changing so rapidly. And we want to keep up. We want to keep up with everything. We want to get all the information, get everything right, know everything immediately. And it's not possible because then we get an information overload and we get a lot of that. At the same time, we're also in a world where social media plays a really big role in our lives. So we can see what everyone is doing. And we can see that some people are already fired. They're financial independent, retire early. We can see people starting online businesses. We can see people working remotely. We can see everything, and we see the possibilities, and the possibilities are endless. And at the same time, we also get a lot of fear of it because we think, hey, why am I not doing that? What is happening with me? What is wrong with me that I'm not fired yet? What is wrong with me that I'm not working remotely? What's wrong with me that I'm not feeling energized at the same time, or working really hard at the same time? And so there are many possibilities, but at the same time, we're also human being, and we also need a balance in what we find important. So you can go and change an online business, but if that is not really something you want, you will not, you will not be able to continue that path, because it's too heavy to do things that are not aligned with what you find really important. So we have this fast changing world, we have social media where we can compare ourselves constantly with others, and we also have at the same time also this world is becoming more individual. So we're really becoming individual human beings. We have more smaller families, smaller homes, more singles. So if we want to really feel good, we have to be connected with other people, not just online. That's really superficial, but it's real, about real connection, really opening up, sharing how you feel. Because when you keep everything inside, it only grows. It's with all the emotions, like a ball in the water, and you don't want to press a ball underwater at a constant because that's not something you would like to do. So yeah, it gets more and more important to figure out, hey, how can I keep this balance for myself? What is important for me? And how do I deal with stress? Because this fast social media world, it gives a lot of stress. And how do I manage stress? Yeah, well, then you need to know something about stress as well, because not all stress is bad. Okay, we need stress in the morning to get out of bed. We need cortisol levels to rise in the morning that we wake up. If we don't wake up, that's a problem. So we need some stress, but we don't need stress constantly all the time. We can have various types of stress. So we have this acute stress. That's stress when you have to be at an exam, make an exam, do public speaking. And then you will feel really tired afterwards because you had this high rise of stress in a short moment of time, and then your body will go down again from the stress and you will feel tired and you can relax. That's acute stress. That's okay. You also have eustress, and that's also what motivates you and energizes you, making you competitive, want to reach your goals. That's also a good stress. Only then we have the chronic stress, and that's really the long-term stress, and that's really about financial issues, worrying about money, being not satisfied with your job, having relationship problems, or maybe chronic health conditions. That's the chronic stress. That is the type of stress that's really wearing you out at the long run. And then we also have these different kind of categories of stress. So it's also important that different kinds of situations can cause you stress. So for example, the physical stress, you have long physical working hours, for example, that can give you stress, but also unhealthy eating. Your body will not like it if you only eat processed foods. I was talking recently to a CEO, and he was like, yeah, well, I'm sick all the time and I cannot do the work, but I have to do the work, but I'm sick all the time. And I was like, okay, and what about your stress? How is that going? And he was actually not feeling that much stress, but he was eating really unhealthy. And I was like, okay, maybe you should change that. So he did that, and he felt way better after a couple of weeks already. It's really important that you eat healthy and take care of your body. You're a grown-up adult human being, so you have to feed your body as well. We forget about that. And then we have the more mental stress. So the emotional stress, it can come from fear, frustration, sadness, grief. For example, you can really have the fear of, for example, the imposter syndrome. If you constantly think, I'm an imposter, I cannot do it, or who am I to say this or do this, it can give you a lot of stress. And if you don't share that and keep that inside, you know what I said about keeping things inside, well, it builds up. It needs to get out some way or another. The same goes for a grief example. If you lost somebody you love and there's little room in the working environment at the moment to deal with grief, we don't know how to do that. It's scary. But yeah, if you lost someone and you need to grieve, it can give you a lot of emotional stress if there's no room for that. Then we have cognitive stress, information overload, self-criticism, perfectionism. You have this inner voice inside that's really critical, that you're not doing good enough or that you have to be better. That gives you a lot of stress as well. So that is cognitive stress. And then we also have perceptual stress. This is about beliefs, roles, stories, attitudes, worldview. If you see the world as a hostile place, it can give you a lot of stress. And what happens when we have a lot of stress and we are in this tunnel vision of stress, I told you before, we're in the fight, flight, freeze mode. So we're battling constant with our environment. We're not feeling okay, we're battling. It's like we need to battle for our lives for real. We don't have to battle for our lives for real, but we give this feeling to ourselves. And when stress levels rise, it's really something you can use when you're in a real dangerous environment. It's good because then you can save yourself. But most of the time we don't have to save ourselves because we're not really in a dangerous place. But if you believe your worldview is that you are in a dangerous place right now, then it can give you that fight, flight, freeze mode. And then you get in that tunnel vision. And then you don't have the possibilities anymore. You don't see the bigger picture anymore. Everything gets really personal. You get more stress, and that builds up. And the last category of stress I want to address is the spiritual stress. So that's really when your values and the things you find important are not aligned with what you're doing in the day. That can give you a lot of stress. If you have the feeling that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it can give you a lot of stress as well. So yeah, that are the different types of stress I wanted to show you. And this is a picture to show you what it is stress can do. The stress hormone is the cortisol hormone. And when cortisol goes up, there's no room, no space for other hormones. So your happy hormones will have lesser room because your stress hormone is there. And when that builds up, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up. And if you want to get rid of your stress hormone, you really have to work on feeling more relaxed, getting more space, more rest. We think we are robots, but we are not. We have this 24/7 society created, but we are still human beings. And we tend to forget that. So we don't want our stress to rise. Yes, cortisol's level can be measured. Yes, it can. So interesting. So what we want from our cortisol, I already explained it to you a bit earlier, and that is we want a peak of cortisol in the morning to wake up. And then the rest of the day, the cortisol needs to go down. That would be the most natural way to have cortisol and stress hormone. If people say to me, Anouk, I'm not a morning person, I'm an evening person, what do you think I will be saying? I will be saying that there's something wrong with your cortisol levels. Because cortisol makes that you're productive as well. And therefore, we are productive in the morning. So the deep work, the focus work should always be in the morning. And then the meetings, etc., should be in the afternoon. Yes, to rewind down. And then also your body can work on your melatonin, so your sleep hormone, and you will sleep better in the evening. Cortisol also responds on caffeine. So a few weeks back, I had this girl, and she didn't have much stress in her work, not in her not in your private life. And I was like, okay, then what is happening in your food and drinks and everything? And she said, well, I'm drinking 8 cups of coffee, 8 cups of coffee during the day. And not small, but really big cups of coffee, like really, really big. And I said, okay, that is something you can stop doing. Maybe 1, 2, 3 cups of coffee in the morning, and that's it. And a few weeks later, she was like, okay, this really helped, because she really had these heart bumps, and she was like, this is not feeling well. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, that's the caffeine. And it's so simple. If you know that and you can scale that back, yeah, it's a life and game changer. So that was a lot of information about stress, about cortisol, about this fast whirlwind. But then, what do I have to do? What can I do to create a more balanced and fulfilled life? How can I work on that? And then I say, okay, let's look at the happiest people on the earth. What do they have? What do the happiest people have? Well, they have a fulfilling job. So they really know what they value, what fulfills them, and it's about the content of their work, not the title or the salary. We try to we forget that. I forgot that in the beginning, because I was very driven. I really thought, okay, salary and titles and climbing the corporate ladder is the most important thing I can do in my life. I thought that was my meaning, but it was empty. So yeah, having a fulfilling job is about what really values. And some people say, okay, but one of my values is financial security. And then I'm like, okay, could be one of your values could be financial security. But then, are you in control of your finances? Do you know what comes in? Do you know what comes out? Do you know where you spend your money on? If your value is financial security, and you don't know these things, and you don't really care about those things, then it's not a value you have, it's a fear you have. So it's a fear of your finances. It's a fear of not having enough financial resources. So that's not a value, that's a fear. So then you have to dig a little bit deeper. What do I value? What do I really value? If you say, for example, I value adventure, then, and you've been in a working spot for a lot of years already, then I say, okay, but you value adventure. Where is the adventure in your life? And I don't say you have to sell your house and quit your job, but I will ask you, okay, how can you incorporate adventure in your daily life? What are you going to do that excites you and that is aligned with that value? So yeah, fulfilling job. A supportive community, a strong network of friends and family is also very important. And that can be quite a challenge in this day, because we're also individual, and we want to be on our own island, but it really helps you to feel more balanced, to have a more supportive community around you. Your physical health, I already addressed that. Exercising, healthy eating. I mean, we think we only work from this part, but we're not only this part. We're not only our heads. We're not only our brains. We also have hands and legs and hearts that desire, and stomachs that are exciting, or maybe they find it a little bit scary what they need to do. So we're more than just our head and our brain. We need to reconnect with that as well. So if you're tired at the end of the day and you don't want to work out anymore, it's not because your body is tired, it's because your head is tired. So if you go work out after a long day of working from the head, it will make you feel better, because then also your body gets the attention it needs. And the really important one, ability to ask for help, is the one I struggled with a lot of years. And now I'm really happy when people help me. It is so nice that people will help you. Some even by themselves starting helping you. That's amazing. I really can enjoy that right now. I used to think like, hey, I don't want people to help me because I'm this strong woman, and I'm independent, and I don't need any help. And now I can relax and really enjoy that I'm being helped at certain points. Why should I do everything by myself? And you also give something back when you let people help you. You also give your connection back, so that the other can give you something, and deepens the connection you have with someone. Yeah, and then no financial worries. Well, a special note with that is some of the people really worry about their financials, but they don't really need to worry about their financials. So that's a really big distinction, and that's due to your belief system. So that's the perceptual stress I talked about earlier. And then you have to dig also a little bit deeper. Where stems this from? So probably something back in your family history. You can look into that. And then, yeah, finding happiness in the moment. It's really big. The mindfulness, staying in the moment, feeling happiness in the moment. Happiness doesn't come from only reaching goals. It also comes from the journey. And feeling present. If you don't feel present, you cannot feel anything like gratitude or happiness at all. So also this practicing mindfulness, it really, really helped me, especially in the beginning of my burnout. That's something I started with. And people say, oh, well, meditating is not for me. Yeah, well, meditating is not for fun. I mean, it's something you need to practice. It's also a skill. Mindfulness is a skill. So you also have to dedicate yourself to building that skill. So yeah, that about the most happy people in the world and the things they have. But what can you do at the moment? And what can you do at the moment is yeah, not only work on in the job, but also work on yourself. And work on your career. Where do you want to go? What are your values? How are you wired? What do you find important? What you're good at? What you're not so good at? Where do you want to get help with? What support system do you need? Yeah, and what makes you don't have a good balance right now? I had this young woman a few months ago, and she came to me, and she was really, really smart, engineering background, and working in engineering as well. And she was really smart. And oh yes, I read your question, Stephanie. Thank you. I will share this with you later on. These studies, I will come back to you about that. So I had this young woman in engineering, background engineering, and she said, I'm really stressed out, and I'm working really hard, and I don't know what to do. And I'm really planning my life. I'm really planning my week, and I'm planning everything. And how do I get a balance? And I was like, okay, and what do you plan? Well, what is your plan? And she said, yeah, well, I plan my whole week for work, and I plan the risk at work. So I have this matrix with all the risks for the upcoming week, and how to to deal with those. And I was like, okay, and what do you plan for yourself? What do you plan for your rest? What do you plan for exercising? What do you plan for meditating or things you like? Do you plan any breaks? And she was like, oh my God, no, I don't do that. And I was like, okay, how can you have a balance when you're only planning for your work, but not planning for yourself? Yeah, all your attention goes to work. It's normal. That's what happens. So that was an eye-opener for her as well. And yeah, we think that we can continue all the time, but we need to recharge ourselves as well. I mentioned breaks, for example. Taking frequent breaks is important for your productivity. Your productivity will go up if you take frequent breaks. And then I don't mean breaks when you do anything or all the leftovers you need to do. And if you are more introverted and you are going for lunch with your colleagues, maybe that's not the best type of break for you. Maybe you need to go outside and be by yourself, because when you're introverted, you will you will recharge by being on yourself and not doing the social interaction. So think about that. What makes that you don't have a good balance right now? And also recognize your stress default mode. What's happening to you? What will you do when you encounter with stress? Will you freeze? Will you fight? Will you flight? Will you please? It's also a possibility that you're going to please a lot. Are you going to say yes? Okay, I have a lot of stress, I have no room, but I will say yes anyway. Well, maybe that's not a very good mode for you then at that point. And then you have to learn more to say no, or later, or maybe let me think about it. Yeah, prioritize according to your values. I said it already before. If you want to drive the car, if you want to be behind the steering wheel, then you have to know where you're going. When you know where you're going, you know your values. Yeah, then it's way more easy to balance everything out, because you know what's important for you and you can say no. Yeah, incorporate self-care. If you have a lot of stress, go outside in the sun and in nature, and your cortisol levels will go down immediately. So be outside, be in nature, sunlight. Even if the sun is not shining and it's a cloudy day or it's a rainy day, you can still go outside and it will still do its work for you. It's wonderful. When I had my burnout, the first months I was sitting outside in the sun. I didn't know back then that was really helpful. So that was intuitive. I sat outside in the sun and I was literally recharging myself. And later on, I read all these studies about how this actually works. And I was like, whoa, my body intuitively knew what it needed at that moment when I started to listen to it. Yeah, work with schedule, take breaks that energize you. And always remember the devil is most of the times in the mind. And yeah, it can be that inner critic that really hunts you down and says that you're not good enough, you're not doing good enough. And you have to try to reform that voice into an inner cheerleader, because that voice is not going to help you, not in the long run. So yeah, I said it already before, the ladder, the corporate ladder. If the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. It's a quote I really like. Yes, and then the last slides. Let's see, what are we in the time? Oh, we're quite nice in time. That's perfect. In the working environment, open up dialogue. Be human. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay you're not doing that well in a day. You're not a robot. You can open up about it. When I started working, I thought I had to be professional, and I thought that professional meant I have to be a robot, so that I don't have feelings. So what I did, I this large part of myself, I put it in the corner when I entered my working space. I put myself in the corner for a large part, and then did my work. But that doesn't feel right, you know. I'm this complete person, and I have talents, and I have things that are not so great. But it makes me human, and that's okay. Everyone has that, and you can talk about that, open up about that, have the dialogue about that, talk about stress, talk about fears, talk about what you yeah, what your problems are. And you don't have to take everything in from someone else. So when someone else is having a bad day, you can say, okay, is there something I can do for you? And if the other person is saying no, then that's a boundary. You don't have to cross that boundary. So respect boundaries as well. So care for your own health and for others and the organization. And yeah, don't go carry things that aren't yours to carry. If you're going to carry the problems of everyone, well, that will cost you a lot of energy. And at the same time, you will not help the other person, because the other person will only get strong by carrying their own things. You have to carry your own problems, your own pains, own burdens. Of course, you can be there for someone else, but you cannot take it from them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that is the working place. And then for the last slide, I have a new poll. And that is something you can do the upcoming week already. And this poll is about what are you going to do in a work-life balance to enhance it next week. And you can have multiple options, but I would recommend to choose one or two or three max, because you have to have focus. Focus is better than not having any focus. And what you do, if you choose now a specific thing you're going to do, write it also for yourself down. Write it on a piece of paper, put it above your bed, write it on your head, I don't care. But you have it somewhere. Have it somewhere, make an agreement to yourself and stick to that agreement. If you break agreements with yourself, you will build evidence that you cannot do it. Yes, so if you make an agreement with yourself, stick to your agreement, because then you build self-confidence. And then you can really, make changes in your life. So I see you're going to do a lot of different things. I really like that. Awesome. Thank you very much for answering this question, you guys. Yeah, and that brought us to the end of this workshop. And let's see, we have 5 minutes left. I don't know if there are any questions maybe you want to ask. We have a little bit of time. So if there are any questions, we can address them now. You can put it in a chat box where everyone can see.
Yeah, also if anyone wants to unmute to ask out loud, you're very welcome.
Everyone is quiet. I talked so much.
I think also, I guess if anyone out there has something that they prefer to ask Anouk in private, then you can email us at alumni@rsm.nl, or you can reach Anouk directly. Her details are there on the screen, and we'll also share her details in a follow-up email to this session. So if you'd like to ask her something that's more private or would be interested to work with her, then you can reach her after the session. What have we got? We've got a couple of questions coming here.
Yeah, how are we receiving the studies, the slides?
We can send those out on email if you like, Nick. We can share those.
Yeah, and then what are the early symptoms of burnout? Yeah, that's a really personal one. I'm not going to address that in general. I think it's really important that if you are thinking about having burnout of a lot of stress, seek out some professional and go check that. I think that's really important, because that's really personal. Okay. Yeah, then this was it. I would really like you to connect with me. Find me on LinkedIn. I also have some extra thing I made for the RSM alumni that will be in the following up mail. That will Erica will send that later today. So yeah, if you really want to work on your work-life balance and need some extra help with that, then yeah, check the email in the afternoon.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Actually, if you don't mind, Anouk, I wouldn't mind a little bit more feedback on that question about burnout, because I'm not in a burnout situation myself at the moment, but I do know I find it very difficult to know the difference between working very hard and being in crunch mode and knowing when one's in danger of burning out. And I don't know if there's anything you can share on that we can all take away.
Yeah, I think what really important is if you have like chronic stress over a long period of time, it can lead to burnout. So if you're having chronic stress, then there's something that is not working for you. Does that answer your question, Peter?
I guess, are there any symptoms that you would say are typical that are popping up that should be alarm bells? Because again, when one's working hard and in crunch mode, it can build up over time. You can go from a normal working level to working too much. And the question is there some way one can see any alarm bells that one looks out for to avoid it, being caught out? Because I think people end up burning out without even realizing that they were in danger of burning out.
Yeah, and I think that it can be really personal which symptoms you can get, because it can be in your body. It can be that you get like a lot of stress in your body. You can have like it can happen that your hair falls out, or it can happen that you have all this yeah, you can have a heart yeah, how do you call
Yeah,
it, heart bumps, or you
yeah,
can have, so it can be in your body.
yeah.
So if something is changing in your body, if there's something changing in your sleeping pattern, that can be a sign. But it can also be more mental. So if you're feeling that your bucket or your cup is full and it's constantly full and it's overflowing, it's more a feeling. So you get more stress, more anxiety. You're way shorter in your responses. You cannot. Everything becomes very personal to you. So there's no room for you to breathe when you're working really long hours in a long period of time, and you have no room to relax anymore. You cannot rewind. That is also signs of getting into burnout.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for that question, and thank you, Anouk, for answering more fully. I realise we're at the full time now and people will need to go, but we wanted to say a really big thank you to you as our alumni speaker, Anouk. We really appreciate you opening this conversation around stress and burnout, and for sharing your insights and tools on how to combat that. And to everyone who's joined us on the webinar, thank you so much for coming. We hope that you found it useful to hear about this topic. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us and we'll connect you with Anouk. Alternatively, if you'd be interested in giving back to the RSM community by sharing your expertise on a different topic, then please do get in touch. We always love to hear from you. And finally, we hope that you can join us here again next week, same time, but we'll be discussing how to create impact through your career and how to drive positive change in your workplace and communities. So another area that we can look at with our careers. Thank you again for now for joining, and yeah, that's a wrap up on this session.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much, Anouk.